Next step, engage the ones being reached. You have to enlist them and have the program help them help themselves. My next example is from Childline, an organization in India. What happens when an entrepreneur runs into an obstacle for a problem they know they can solve, but they don't know how to get around it? It's simple. They make a solution that makes the obstacle irrelevant and sometimes even turns it into a plus.
Two hurt little boys, one huge selfish city. Just one of the calls we receive each day. And there are many, many more. Almost 4 million calls to date from city streets and village corners across India. Each call carries its own tale of survival and neglect. We've had children call in because they're lost, injured, being beaten up, or even being bitten by dogs as they sleep on the pavement. We've had a call from parents of a traumatized child who broke into an epileptic fit every time a car parked outside their ground floor home. A hospital called us when they saw a child so maggot-ridden that even a doctor wouldn't attend to him. Children on the streets call us when they see one of their own dying. And sometimes kids just call to see if we pick up the phone.
So what was the challenge that was being faced? Getting the program started. When Miss Billamoria started, there were many different organizations, but none were helping the children when they arrived in India. They were always helping after the problem, after a child got beat up, after a child was left, after a child was abandoned, after a child was attacked by dogs. She said, look, we've got to help the children before they end up in the hospitals and in the areas around us. So she gathered support from partner organizations and said, hey, we've got to figure out how to get the kids to call us. We've got to harness the energy of the kids and the knowledge, street knowledge they have to do this. So she set up a telephone number, 1098, easy to remember, simple to call, that kids or people could call directly from the street as they passed and saw a situation and report an incident. However, it's expensive to hire social workers, psychologists, support personnel to take those calls and respond to them. And she didn't have any money to start. She didn't have any money to start out with. So what did she do? She engaged the kids that were with the other programs and got them to assist and got them to answer the phones as they called, typically late at night or into the morning. It turned out very well. Not only did it teach them responsibility and how to come to work, how to be on time, she was paying them for their services, but it helped them connect to the feeling of helping others that living on the street had damaged. These kids had been focused on survival. It was all for them, for them, for them, what they have to survive. How can you help others when you have to survive yourself? It also turned out to be great because these kids were a tenacious group of fighters who weren't afraid to go anywhere, no matter where it was in the city, and they weren't afraid to confront the authorities, the police. As an example, Late one night, a call's received. There's a two-year-old girl naked, wandering alone in the train station, with burns all over her body. The kids run out, and by the time they get there, she's gone. They start looking for her. Where is she? Where could she be? And they find her. Turns out another beggar who had a reputation for abducting kids and using them for begging for him had grabbed her and was now claiming that this was his daughter. One of the kids went to the police, grabbed the policeman that they found, brought the policeman over, and started telling them, no, we're here to help. We're from Childline. The beggar, of course, protested and said, no, this is my daughter. The policeman hauled them all down into jail and said, okay, we're going to get this straightened out. He initially sides with the beggar because he says, he's an adult. I have no way to prove that this child is not his. You're going to have to just accept it. They dispatched one of this group of kids back to the office where they were able to talk to the founder, get her to come down, and she was able to convince the police officers that this was the girl that had been reported as wandering alone and was in need of medical care. So the police ended up turning custody of the girl over to the Childline founder, and she was able to arrange for care, hospitalization, treatment, and then finally adoption. She permanently changed this girl's life. How? By breaking the cycle. And she was able to do that because these kids used their tenacious ability and their fighting spirit to keep on going. And to me, this is where the real power of social entrepreneurship begins. It's the things that separates it and distinguishes it just from entrepreneurship. The completion of the cycle by using the programs and teaching the participants the skills needed in order to help themselves in the future. And it's the one piece I think that must be present in a program for it to be sustainable. You have to get the participants, the people who've come through your program, to help as well, because they will be the most powerful spokespeople for your organization.